Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Welcome to the 32nd pod of Birth Life Story Circle, the pod that connects one life to the other. I'm your host and host, Sneha Bakkal, who flows with you in your journey of pregnancy, labor, birth, and postpartum, hence a certified birth doula and a traditional birth attendant. Our today's guest is Avni's mom. So, yeah, Madhura is our guest, and she and her spouse are both from the IT world. They live in Pune and they're super adventurous couple from scuba diving to paragliding. They have done it all. And that's the way they birthed, right? And they also love art and travel. So thank you so much, Madhura, for joining me, being a first time mom and having your births at home, with all those controversies around you, breech and IUGR, etc., etc. I'm so glad that you're so early postpartum and you're still here to empower mothers with your experience. Thank you for joining in, Madhura.
Hey, thanks, Neha. That was the wonderful introduction. I mean, this is the first time I'm being introduced as Avni's mom. I absolutely like it.
So, Madhura, you would like this is your first pregnancy and birth, and we're glad that you had an amazing experience. So, we would like to hear it from the day you were pregnant. How were your prenatals? What were your idea about birth? How did you find natural birth plan? And then eventually, how did you prepare for a home birth? And then your breech story. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all yours.
So I'm still in my postpartum, so excuse me if I sound little dull or so.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. So Sneha, as you said, I should be starting my story right from the start of pregnancy, but
Yeah.
I would say my story starts from 2 years back. For me, this pregnancy journey, it followed one mantra. If I mean, most of you might be knowing it: Om Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, and Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya. So I always wanted this to be a very conscious journey. Um I always wanted to go from darkness to wisdom to enlightenment, and exactly the same happened in my pregnancy. So, as I said, this started 2 years back because there were there were many friends of me who were going through this birthing process in their lives, or my cousins, and I could see, like, what trauma they all were going through, having their C sections done, or a little less of knowledge they had about how the corporate hospitals work, and eventually they ended up into C sections. So we decided as a couple that we really don't want to get into this loop, and we started our journey right from asking ourselves a question that, do we really want to have a baby? And while we were finding, what is the exact purpose, or what is the meaning of having baby in our lives, we decided, okay, let's try to fix our bodies first, because we've been working into IT, having very bad schedules all the time. So our bodies were really not good, I would say. And to have it, in all natural way, we decided we'll fix four things in our lives. So first was the food and eating patterns, because we used to eat a lot outside or the packaged food. So we tried to stop all that, and we hired one dietitian, and we tried to follow a balanced diet. And second thing was working on our bodies with strength training and meditations, keeping the stress little away, as away as possible in our lives. And fourth and most important thing, I would say, was the sleep, because it is being said sleep is the most underrated superpower that humans have got. So we try to respect these things, and cleanse our bodies first. And meanwhile, we were also doing some adventure activities, as you rightly mentioned, the scuba and paragliding. So that has taught us a lot, because when you do the adventure activities, it teaches you the mind and body coordination, because most of the times your mind says you cannot do this, and your body knows that it has a lot of ability to do. So, but most of the time we listen to the mind, and doing all those adventure activities, we could actually find that balance in our bodies. And yeah, then there was a beautiful thing which was said to us about conception, that do it when you're the happiest. So we exactly followed the same, and to our surprise, it was so normally, or I would say organically, conceived pregnancy. So when we got to know that we are pregnant, uh, and lots of restrictions started coming to us, we were open for, having some precautionary measures, but we were not, me and my husband were not absolutely convinced with the idea that we will go for a complete bed rest, or, most of the times the way we see the pregnant woman not moving, or I'm not finding, I'm not able to find the right word, but my husband always used to say this thing to me. The line is, if she is pregnant, that doesn't mean that she is gonna stop hunting for. And
Wow. Wow.
that's how we found an inspiration to, stay active throughout. Throughout 9 months, I was doing yoga, um, swimming. I did a lot of meditations. We traveled a lot. Even one solo travel also I did. So that's how I was active. I'm just referring to my point so that I don't miss out on anything. Just a minute. Yeah. So meanwhile, we were doing these things. Um, in this group, I think most of you know Miss Sapna Sangal, and she is one of our very closest family friend. So long back, I had heard about her pregnancy and her birth stories, and that inspired me a lot. That was, I think, first time I was listening to birth story, which moved me in a way that uh, there are a lot many things that we have seen traditionally in the hospitals or in the movies, as Tapasya also demonstrates in her sessions, right? In the movies, it is being showed a woman when she is birthing, she is crying a lot, or she is shouting, and she is unmanageable, or she is being, uh, she is being put on a bed where she cannot move. But when I heard Sapna Mami's story, and that really inspired me, or that made us interested to know more about the natural births. So I would say initially in the first 5 months, we were very less associated with the hospitals and doctors, only for the important scans like anomaly, NT. So I think till 5th month, we were associated, and till 8th month, I mean, 5th to 8th, we were completely not in contact with hospitals or the doctors. So, meanwhile, we were doing some antenatal classes with Garbaram, that is Sapna Mami and Leena ji's um, platform for antenatal classes. And through them only, we got introduced to this group of people who are interested in natural birth, who work for natural birthing, where Tapasya, Sneha, Divyaji, and Dr. Riddhi, all these people are. And that's where we got to know the end-to-end process of physiological birth, and what are the importances of, undisturbed birth. And that's where we started thinking, okay, this is the birth experience that we want. Meanwhile, even if we were not going for our regular checkups, because they used to prescribe a lot of medicines and external hormones and all, so we thought like, okay, if not for this, let's actually look for what are the facilities hospitals provide, what are we were going and checking what are the packages, um, what happens when it is a C-section, what happens in if it is a normal delivery. If it is a normal delivery, we were looking if they have like facilities like squatting ball, or um, sorry, squatting bar, and birthing ball, or do they even allow us as a birthing mom to take different positions, or do we even have a say to share what kind of experience we are looking for? But every time we used to go and visit hospitals, we used to feel very disappointed, because all we used to get a handout, a printout of different packages. Okay, this is a 2 lakh package in which you'll get few visits from gynec, 1 or 2 visits from pediatrician, and a list of gifts they used to mention that you're gonna get a balloon decoration in the room, blue color for baby boy, pink
And
color
then
for baby girl.
cake cutting, then a
Yeah,
beautiful picture.
exactly. Um, I remember there was one hospital which we visited almost at the end of our journey, and it had like very expensive packages, very five-star looking kind of rooms, and the gifts they had, like for 2 lakhs they'll have a baby clothing set. For 3 lakhs, in addition to that, they'll give you a family photo frame or you know that kind of things. And absolutely we used to feel very disappointed that they are not even listening to what our requirements are, and these fancy things we were not absolutely looking for. So this journey was still going. We were still trying to enjoy our journey, not trying to we were actually enjoying it, and doing lots of nesting. And in between we attended lots of workshops with Tapasya. We got associated with her as our midwife. I would say from that moment she became our survey server till now. For every small detail we send her
Mm.
voice note, some messages, and immediately she responds back. And her guidance is absolutely to the point. I would say we feel really blessed that we right time at the right time we got connected with right people. So, in all those sessions that we did with Tapasya, we got to know about again about the end-to-end process, what happens in a woman's body, how the baby navigates. Earlier, I never knew that baby is also involved in this process so much, but later, that uh, you know that mindset completely flipped after attending Tapasya's classes. Then we also got to know about emergencies, how they are to be handled. When are the times when you really have to, make your mind for C-sections. So I would say we were not very much rigid that we never want to get a C-section done, but we were not intended to. We were planning for a natural birth. We wanted that to happen. But if at all, I mean, situation would have arrived such that you don't have any option, then I might have gone for it. So, doing all these things, I think there came 8 month, which was most dramatic. That time we wanted to change the hospital because we wanted the hospital to be in our closest proximity. So we chose um, a hospital which was just 5 minutes drive from my home. And from there, all the drama started. So, initial scan that we did in that hospital showed completely a skewed result. So it was showing that the baby is, IUGR, FGR, these terms they use for the low weight babies. And they were saying the baby is out of, the normal range of lowest birth weight. They shown us some graph where her weight was out of that graph. And there was one more observation, one loop in her intestine. Again, low amniotic fluid. So looking at all these results, the doctor was little shocked because the initial scan did not show the loop in intestine, and she wanted us to repeat that scan, and she referred us to someone who was outside that hospital. And when we went to other diagnostic center, the results were still showing low weight baby, but it was not out of the range, and it did not show the intestine loop, the loop in the intestine again. So we were very much shocked how, the same thing. I would say how two different doctors, but one doctor completely scared us, and the language she was using, and the other sonographer, she gave us the confidence that okay, things are not that bad that we cannot manage. So And yeah, in all these scans, the baby's position was still breech, but we were not that stressed about the breech position because we knew that till 38th week, the position may change. And we were thinking like, okay, maybe let's see in the next scan. And eventually we got to know the baby's position was breech and it was extended. That means the legs were in front of her face. And that time everyone were was suggesting us, to do many a things like meditations or inversions. Inversions were really tough for me because having that big belly and that big weight and doing inversions in that used to cause a lot of back pain, shoulder pain, and pain in my entire lower back had that issue. So we stopped doing inversions. Then we were also just suggested to get the ECVs done. That means that was really a scariest part because they tried to turn the baby manually from outside mother's belly. They'll hold the baby from outside belly and they'll just try to. It was even scary to look at it. Then we were suggested to do some meditations and tell the baby that you need to turn. And it was being said that the father has to do this communication with the baby and baby will listen. So till that point, my husband was really disappointed because he never liked the idea that, to communicate with the baby and telling, not with the idea of communication, but telling her this thing that you're not perfect. You're the reason of our stress. He was absolutely not happy doing that. So that time he said, I deny this. I want my baby to feel like we are proud of her, whatever position she is in, we are ready to accept her. Whatever happens, it's our job to prepare for it, not the baby to, turn or something. That moment, I think, was very crucial and very important for us because that's where we accepted her as she was. And from there, I think our homework started in different direction. So it was like a googly to us because all the time we were preparing for a normal birth where the baby turns head down. And from that moment, we started again bugging Tapasya. So she collected all the material. She gave us a lot of educational videos and material to watch. And at till that time, my mind was completely clogged because I was not able to accept any new information. I was so into all these things that this is not happening right way, that is going something out of our control, and I absolutely did not wanted to do anything from that point onwards. So I don't know, Tapasya and my husband, they were doing all these things, reading the things or talking to each others, what can be done, what are the limitations, they were trying to understand. And then, meanwhile, during my 37th week, I think we were asked to get NST done in the hospital. Parallel thing, what's happening in hospital, I'm telling that to you guys. So when we went to get NST done, that is one test where the baby's heartbeat is being monitored. I didn't know how that is being done because it was the first time for me and I was not being provided with any instructions. The nurse came and they put some probes on my stomach and just went away. And they asked us that just call us after 20 25 minutes. So in that time, it was very difficult for me to stay in one position lying on my back because that was the first time in my pregnancy I was lying on my back. And I was moving a little bit and that made the probes dislocate a bit and it showed a significant drop in my NST. So the doctor and all the nurses and everyone there created so much of panic and they were using such a fearful language that I was thinking, what happened? Why is the environment so unsettled here? And they asked us to repeat it two more times again. So next two times the NST was good. The baby's heartbeat was showing good. But the doctor panicked us so much. She was using this language, okay, if one of these NST wasn't good, अभी तक के तुम्हारा बेबी तुम्हारे हाथ में होता. That scared me a lot because I wasn't ready for that moment. I never thought that, I'll have my baby in my hand without having labor. So that was a very dreadful night for both of us, for me and my husband. And we were thinking, okay, next time we are not coming to this hospital. But the doctor again asked us to get the NST done after a week. And then after a week, I mean, that was my 38th week, which was again very dramatic because we were trying to analyze if the baby happens to be breech, then what are our options. So in case if we want to get the normal delivery done, I was not at all considering the hospital as an option, because I knew that that is gonna be a very traumatic experience for me and my baby. Even the doctors used to use this language that in the normal deliveries in the hospitals, that is gonna be a game of push and pull, in that the baby may get a little bit damaged or so. So that language itself was very fearful, that I understood that I'm not gonna get any undisturbed experience here, or they are not gonna rely on to what changes are happening in my body, or they are not gonna respect um, that I want to take the decisions. I also want to be get involved in that, or whatever decisions they make for me, at least the consent is being considered from me or my husband. So that made me think that, okay, normal delivery is not going to happen in hospital. So other option was to have a C-section. But for that also I was not ready without having without being into natural labor. And we had that concept in my mind. So for natural delivery, I was thinking, okay, if Tapasya is coming to India, then only I'm gonna have it. I mean, I was so much relying on her, and she was also telling nearby my due dates, she was planning to be in India. So we were thinking, okay, let's figure that out, if she comes here, or how is gonna be her logistics and all. So we'll see what happens on that time. But meanwhile, we never knew that we are going to deliver so soon. So meanwhile, we were also doing our remaining scan in 38th week. So that time what happened is the sonographer called my doctor, the gynec, and said, you need to get this baby out as soon as possible. And the same night, doctor called us that you come to hospital and get admitted. That was, I mean, to our surprise, we never thought the doctor is gonna call us, to get admitted, even when we are not visiting on our regular date. So then we knew, if I go to hospital, she's definitely not letting me come back. So we did one thing. I didn't go. Only my husband visited her with a printout of our birth plan. So we knew, I mean, we are not gonna get many things accepted, but very simple things we asked for. That we want the husband to be with me inside the OT. Second thing was we are gonna delay the cord cutting. We want the placenta handed over to us, and they are not gonna watch the baby for first few hours. And first 1 hour, we want the baby with us, either me or my husband, without any disturbance. So none of these points in the birth plan was accepted. Rather, what the doctor did is, on my ANC card, she had written a few points that I have explained the risks to the husband of this lady, that the baby is IUGR. And there was one important thing that she had written from the last scan, that was the blood supply in the brain has been increased, and the blood supply in the body is reduced. And she said that the baby is starving inside my womb. And last thing is, the baby is extended breech. So she had written this in ANC card, that I have explained all these risks to the husband, but they are not ready to get admitted. And for a planned C-section, they want to wait for the natural onset of labor. and she made my husband to sign that. And the last thing that she said is, your baby is starving inside the womb. What kind of parents you are? How can you make your baby starve, and when you can get her out and you can feed her and give her the nutrition that she wants? And I think that was the scariest night, scariest and most stressful. And I know, I mean, my husband didn't share me all the details from that visit. He only told me that this is how the doctor have written for you. And that night we had a call with Tapasya as well. And she said, okay, let's do one thing. We still have time for our due date. So let's eat a lot of protein now. Let's see if the weight of baby gets increased. And I was again stressed, कितना मैं प्रोटीन खाऊं? I mean, मेरे को हो नहीं रहा है प्रोटीन खाना. I'm like a vegetarian person, and पनीर खा के कितना खाऊं? या फिर I was not very, that protein powder was also not very suitable for me. I was completely stressed on that idea. And still, we thought, whatever happens, we are not going to hospital unless our labor starts. And that night, me and my husband, we were walking, we were going for evening walk, and he said one thing to me, that don't stress out. There's only one way of getting the baby out. That is, I mean, there's only one natural way which your body knows and which the baby also knows. That is the natural way. It's our mind that knows that the C-section can be done, or there are different options. So if we trust the nature, let's see what happens. And he left the decision to me, that this is what I feel, but whatever you feel you want to get a C-section done, we'll do that. If you want a natural delivery, I'll support in that. So he left that decision to me. And I was thinking of all my friends, all of my friends have gone through this C-section thing. And I was thinking of them, okay, they were recovered in 6 months, and how many stitches are, कितने लगते हैं, वो भी मुझे पता नहीं था. I just knew that 6 or 7 layers they're gonna cut. And I was just trying to console myself कि okay, 6 महीने में recover हो जाएंगे. And then I was suddenly one thought came to my mind, why am I taking inspiration from my friends who have undergone the C-section? I should be looking at my nannies and dadis and the entire previous generations who have done it either at home or naturally, because birth is something which is happening I mean, from the start of this nature till now, it is happening naturally. And it's just a few years back we got all those facilities of hospital and all, and that's why we are getting it done in planned ways and all. So I was thinking, okay, I should be taking inspiration from right people, and that is from the ancestors. Actually, my nani and dadi, both the deliveries for both of them have happened at home only. And in these 9 months, I was trying to get connected with my nani and dadi are not alive now, and I miss them a lot for this, because I think this was the right time when I wanted to get connected with them. I wanted to hear their stories and get that inspiration. Then I called my grandpa as well. I asked him how did it happen. He knew only a few things, but that was very comforting. And I was thinking, okay, they didn't have these facilities of sonographies and getting any visibility into how it is going. So without all that, and I would say ignorance is bliss was the thing in their case. And in our case, we think a lot, we get stressed a lot. So that's where I thought, okay, let's see what happens. But right now, I'm not going to make a decision of C-section. And luckily, at the same night, I started getting contractions, and I didn't know that it is the real contraction or the practice one. It was, I think, around 2 a.m. in the morning, and I didn't wake my husband up. But that night, some folks in my society were having a great party, and they were playing a lot of loud music and all. So we both got up at 4 a.m. and I told my husband that now I'm feeling that I'm going into the labor. And he was like, okay. And he just started working from that moment, and he didn't stop till the baby was out. So he started cleaning the room, the house, and he changed the orientation of the bed. He sanitized the washroom. I don't know what not he did in all that time. And as I was getting into active phase, so I wanted him to be with me for each contraction. So I was holding his hand. He was continuously speaking something like a, baba or guru, like a meditative speech he was completely giving. And after each contraction there was a gap of 2 3 minutes. So in that 2 3 minutes gap he was running and doing some work and coming back to me. तो एक कॉन्ट्रैक्शन के बीच में मान लो उसने वॉशरूम साफ कर लिया, दूसरे कॉन्ट्रैक्शन के बीच में मुझे पानी लाके दे रहा है, जूस लाके दे रहा है. दैट इज़ हाउ इट वाज़ गोइंग. And we were waiting for morning so that we can call Tapasya and tell her that I think it's the time. And I think in the 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. in the morning, we called her and told that it's the time. And that morning, I also cooked upma. I was little hungry, and I called at home in the morning itself so that they don't get panic. Iska call kyun nahi aa raha? And I didn't talk to them for last 2 days because of all that stress and all. So I just told them that I was awake for entire night and I want to go and get a good sleep. So I'm not gonna talk to you for next few hours. So they were also like, okay, okay, kuch kha ke so jao. And I cooked upma, and then we went again into our uh, active labor phase. I mean, we can't go, and we were completely focused into that. So till that time, I was still confused in my mind. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna go to hospital, spending most of the labor in our at home, or are we doing at home? So I think in at around 8, I asked Tapasya that do you really think we can do this at home? She said, we can absolutely do this. You just need to trust your body. And I think from that moment, we didn't look back. And from that moment onwards, it was a complete surrender into the process. So the process was also going so smooth. And I think it was my baby who decided how she wanted to come in the world, because I was unable to decide. I was really confused, like, uh, am I really going for hospital or C-section or what? But she chose how to come. There were lots of plannings that Sapna Mami will join us for birth, or even Tapasya will join us for birth. But I would say she only decided who she wanted in that space. So she decided that she only wants her mom and dad to be there, literally undisturbed, uninterrupted. And I think Tapasya was there with us on the messages and calls. We were letting her know the situations every now and then. I think in the 10 a.m., 10 or 10:30 a.m. in the morning, the water broke. It was that time I felt little nauseous. I vomited, and immediately next moment the water broke, and it was very clean. We were sending these photographs to Tapasya, and she was very happy to see, okay, everything is going very normal, and we can still proceed. Uh, After that, and in during all these times, I was consistently changing the positions, uh, whatever I feel comfortable in. And I was consistently telling my baby, there used to be two mantras which I used to chant in my day-to-day meditations. First, I already told you at the starting, and the second was Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunattu Saviryam Karvavahe. So, in by saying that, I used to communicate with my baby that you, me, your dad, and the nature, we all are the team, and we all have to work together, to get this done. My husband has always manifested this birth as, there has to be no cut, no stitches given to me. And exactly that's how it was progressing. And that's how I was telling my baby as well, that you are a big participant in this process, a very important participant in this process. We all together can do this, and it's you who is gonna do it. We are just there to support. And she, I think, she is a divine baby, and she listened to it. I think she was all awake during all our antenatal classes with Garbaram or Tapasya, and she was listening to it because she did it also well. Each stage was as if as if we write an answer to the question how the ideal risk free emergency free birth should be. Every stage was happening like that. So this was I'm telling, this was around 11 or so in the morning, and that time I entered washroom and I was sitting on the commode. From there I didn't come back, and because I was consistently getting this pooping pressure or pushing pressure. And I think from there onwards Tapasya was also on video call. And after some time she said, okay, now I think it's a time that you should go into a cat cow pose. That, I think, till that time my husband had also inflated the this water pool. But Tapasya said this is a breech bath and we shouldn't be doing it in the water. It has to be on the ground, on the land. And honestly speaking, we didn't prepare for how the setup is gonna be at home. We had all the supplies, we had it at a hand's reach. But it wasn't like कि यहाँ पे chair लगेगी, यहाँ पे birthing ball लगेगा. It wasn't like that. But I mean, intuitively we kept on doing all those things at the time, and it happened so right. When Tapasya said कि अभी cat cow में आ जाओ, so we set up one chair, and I had to kneel down on the ground. And that time Vikram was confused. अभी इधर my knees will hurt, because I said, okay, yoga mat लेके आओ. So that's how things happened. And I think after that half an hour or so, uh, I got the final pushing pressure. I did not know that this is the final time. And consistently my husband was speaking something and I was listening to it. I was not responding because I was completely into different state of mind. And but that was definitely making me feel like this is going right. We are doing the right thing, and it's gonna happen. Whatever fear I had in my mind all the time, I don't know where it had gone for that particular time frame. And there came a time that Tapasya said, okay, you need to give a final push now. I thought, okay, something is coming out. That time I did not know what body part is coming out. But I think entire of my baby was out except the head. And her head was stuck there for a minute or so. And I was waiting for another contraction to come to push the head out. And Tapasya was like, no, you can't wait now, you just push. I don't know whatever I remember from that time I'm saying, but there might be some difference as well because I was completely in different state.
You are in your trance state.
I
So
was
Tapasya
in
will tell us the story.
yeah, I was in my trance. So the head was I think still inside. I did not know. I mean, later when I heard these things from Tapasya and my husband, but I could not see what's happening, right? And the next moment, I don't know how I intuitively felt that I need to get a little bit of height, and I just extended one of my leg, and then the head came out. And the baby was out and she was looking here and there, and I was like, oh my god, this is the entirely new life. And I knew that I manifested, or I was prepared for this, but this looks something different. Entire new living being, breathing, looking at us. And that was, I mean, I can't express that in words. I mean, that's entirely a different feeling. And we were trying to hold, and she was all in her vernix slipping from our hands. So little I just tried to hold her close. And I think the first thing I said to her is, you're unique. I always manifested her as, she's gonna be someone who's gonna make big changes in the world, and I already started feeling it. I don't know why. And the pleasant, I mean, then immediately next moment she latched, and that was so magical because when I compare this experience with what I imagined in hospital, I wouldn't have got any of the benefits of what I imagined. But when we did it at home, I think we got 100% of what we wanted. She latched immediately next moment. The placenta was detached, and it was, I think, still stuck because of the suction. But we waited for some time, and then Tapasya said that you need to try it with your hand to you just release some air, and then the placenta was out. And I actually I was very emotional that moment because whatever material, the video material Tapasya had shared, there was one video that the placenta is baby's first mother. And I don't know, I mean, I was still, very emotional, talking about the placenta, because I was absolutely grateful to it, that, it provided so much of nutrition and good time uh, to my baby in the womb. I would say I feel like she might have got good experience there at her first home. And then we thought of doing the lotus birth, but the cord was really small. We had to cut it at night because we tried to store it with all the herbs and turmeric, but it was very difficult to handle the baby and the placenta together. So we had to cut it, but we were happy that at least for some time we could keep it attached. And later we did a plantation for that, and we are going to transfer it now. uh, See, this thing happens when I talk about the placenta. I go blank. So I would like to share a few more things, like my parents were not there because we asked them not to come unless we asked them to come, because we wanted to have this undisturbed, and that was a little difficult to manage because they wanted to be with us. Even we wanted them to be us, but we knew that we won't be able to do the things we wanted to, and this is gonna be a once in a life thing. And this could have been the best thing we could give to our baby and to my body as well. It was a kind of appreciation act towards this nature. In all, in entire of this journey, my husband had ordered one book which named as Day to Day Pregnancy, and it showed, day to day progress of how the baby is developing her organs, or what activities it can perform now, or what are the reflexes it has developed. And I was in completely awe, or I was completely amazed to see how the human body or the woman's body is programmed to do all these things. We working into IT, we know that we can build very great stuff, but you feel so less in front of the nature. I mean, I this pregnancy was all about great appreciation and gratitude towards it. And it was all about, gaining more wisdom, more enlightenment, and I'm absolutely grateful. So before I finish all these things, I would like to share one funny thing. Not funny, I mean, this is little serious as well. Whomsoever I was sharing my story, my friends and distant relatives, many of them who have gone through C-section used to ask me how the labor feels like. Is it similar to period pain? How it is? So I used to, I'm like, how can I tell this to someone? What is the magnitude of pain that you go through? And that moment I felt like the earlier generations used to do it so normally, and this is just a general thing for them. It used to happen in every next home. So you had someone to look after, okay, how it happens. And now the there's a very big gap. We couldn't take it forward. So I used to feel very proud about that. This is a legacy that I'm gonna give to the next generations, that how it happens. And I'm absolutely grateful to, all of them who supported me in this journey. Big thanks to my husband, because he has, crazy mind. Most of people won't believe him, but he thinks way ahead of time, I would say. And to most importantly, to Miss Sapna Sangal, because of her, we got to know, this is how it has to be done, and we got connected with all, great people. So I think I would stop here now, because I can go on for hours and hours about this journey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Madhura. Now I'd like to listen from your midwife and then also your spouse, if your husband would like to share his part, or if you want to be there so that other wives also listen the husband's perspective. But the Tapasya, I would like to know, how was that moment for you when you had to tell them about, these are the possibilities, like, C-section is also one of the ways, or, and I think me and Tapasya, we always talk in our childbirth education about stillbirths as well. So, this is a topic which everyone don't want to listen to, but they have fear about. So, Madhura, did you had these dialogues as well exchanged, and how did that made you guys feel about
Oh my
it?
God. Oh my God. I mean, this still goosebumps on my body, because there was one session with Tapasya, which had to be a session about earthside transition of the baby. And that morning, we were like actually 3-4 couples doing the sessions together with Tapasya, and everyone had to join. I mean, there was still some time, and Tapasya said, "Okay, do you guys have any queries?" And I happened to ask about the stillbirths, and Tapasya said, "Okay, in this morning itself, I've seen one." And that class, we didn't discuss anything else but only the stillbirths. And uh, I can't forget that day, because I was even very emotional, and I was like, okay, I mean, when we were thinking, when we, used to think about home births and hospital births, we knew that it can happen anywhere, like in the hospitals as well, or at home as well. But the difference is, if it happens in hospital, you have that thing, okay, we tried everything and we couldn't save it. But I think that's the difference at home. It's only about acceptance. But yeah, it was really dreadful, fearful thing for me at least. And it's all about acceptance. I know it would have hit it very hard, but nothing can prepare you for that. Maybe over to you, Tapasya.
Because I would like to know the diagnosis which made things fearful for them. The diagnosis, like the brain is not getting enough oxygen, or the body is IUGR, the placenta. Was there any insufficiency in placenta? Because वही एक बचा था शायद. बाकी सब तो उन्होंने बोल दिया था.
Well, I'm never scared of these diagnoses because
Tapasya,
most of the
sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you, but listening to all that, doctor had all labeled it like दुनिया का सबसे high risk pregnancy यही है.
Absolutely.
That's how they put it. And I'm never scared of IUGR diagnosis and brain sparring effect. See, brain sparring effect is the most common thing you will see in the last few weeks of pregnancy because brain is making that last effort of I want to grow as much as possible before I get out. So obviously, body prioritizes the blood flow to the brain, and because later on the body parts can grow. Of course, the brain also grows, but if it is little bit of not LGR, I will say SGA, small for gestational age. The brain wants to make that last ditch of effort of you know just develop the brain. When the baby comes out, baby is going to make all the efforts to grow the body, and that's what we in Avni's case. She was born and she latched for a long time. We rarely see that in newborns. We see that they will latch for like 5 minutes and then they will sleep for 5-6 hours. This baby was latching on and on and on, and touch wood, just in 1 month of life, she has grown from 2.3 to 3.7 kgs almost, 3.4 or 3.7 kgs. So the baby's wisdom that I want to be of a certain size so that I am born easily, and then I'll go out and make up for it. We have to trust that wisdom. And I have seen that wisdom in many babies. Like right now, today, 4 out of 6, 4 out of 10 women will get IUGR diagnosis. And what are we comparing things to? Again, it's so dicey, it's so hazy, because they are sometimes comparing it with European or Caucasian standards. And in India, a baby ranging between 2.5 and 2.8 is a national average. So why are we calling a 2.3 kg baby as IUGR? Well, call it SGA. Okay, baby is looking small for gestational age. But this brain sparing effect, again, when you tell this to people, IUGR, intrauterine growth restriction. So when we say this to parents and tell them that, oh, your baby is starving and the brain is making the last effort to survive, so all the blood is going to the brain, that is not science. You're not putting things as they are objectively. You are scaring them for your motives. It might be money, it might be your own safety. You don't want to, you basically want to save your ass. You don't want to get into a complicated case. You don't want to have a stillbirth at your hospital. There could be so many reasons, whatever. So anyway, that apart, when we got to know baby's breech, again, as Madhura said, at 34 weeks, we were like, okay, we will turn. That's fine. We'll do this, do that. I gave them number of Nutan auntie also. So Nutan auntie also tried a couple of things. Leena ji and Sapna also tried a couple of things. And then one fine day when they said, it's baby's not turned, it's 38 week, and we don't want to turn baby. I said, that's it. Let's prepare for the breech, because breech is a different set of birth. It needs a different set of mindset and skills and knowledge. So my go-to for breech is Breech Without Borders. I've taken their course, and Breech Without Borders is an organization who's promoting vaginal breech and who are into training doctors, midwives, doulas, whoever wants to attend birth, into how breech is, how breech looks. And obviously, everybody cannot access their material or their courses in person because they are in the USA. But they have made this beautiful YouTube channel where you have lots and lots of educational videos. So obviously, see, breech is very rare. So this is all in all my second breech in like 100 births. And so you don't read about breech every day. So I had to brush up my knowledge. I had to go back to my course material videos, and then I have had to go to YouTube, and in 48 hours, I watched everything that was available in the open source on YouTube about breech. So I just wanted, I don't want to miss anything. And then we had this session about breech with Vikram and Madhura. And I explained them, how breeches get born. You please watch the videos. Then it was like, fine. I mean, we did it before 38 weeks, before your last scan, it seems. And then when she was just 2 or 3 days before her delivery, I was at a resort called Avni. It was a beautiful place, with a river and ocean and everything. And I just called her. I had that intuition that Madhura must be really stressed. I called her and I asked her, what is going on? She said, everything is fine, but I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. And I want to give it a try, but I am scared. And she, one thing she said, that I don't want to watch any more videos. I don't want any information. I don't want to do anything. I said, you don't do anything. You just enjoy your last few weeks of pregnancy, and Vikram and I will do all the preparation, and you just go with the flow. And that's what exactly happened. The night they came from the NT scan, she was really stressed. They were also laughing because they had like this weird and funny experience at the hospital, and they also got the taste of how stupid or flimsy hospital diagnosis or environment can be, and how it is not absolutely conducive for a natural birth. And then after that, that night, once Vikram came back from the doctor, he was there on call. I think Madhura was not even there. And he talked to me and he said, doctor has said to me that you are sitting on a time bomb and you are like, what kind of father are you? You're gonna kill your baby. And she said, really, really terrible things to me, and I'm really stressed, but I know my baby's gonna come the way she wants to come. And that conversation was the last conversation before the birth. And in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, I get a message that something is going on. I was really happy. So because of my previous experience of a breech, whatever I have learned, breeches are fast. Breeches get born fast. So head down babies, we have waited, 3 days, 4 days, sometimes, VBAC births can take really long. And we have waited and waited and waited in many births. But at breech, I would not wait more than 12 hours at max. So in my mind, as their message came at 6 a.m., the contractions have started gaining, certain frequency and regularity. And in my mind, I'm like 2:30 p.m. 2:30 p.m. is my deadline. After that, if things are not progressing, I'm going to send them to the hospital. And 2:30 p.m. And the baby was out by 12. So, it was a real textbook birth. So, as my teacher inside me is kind of itching, I want to show you a little bit of how it happens, the cardinal movements in a breech birth. Because in a head down baby, we know, how baby moves and baby extends the head, his shoulders turn and baby comes out. But in breech, so her baby was sitting like this, holding her legs. So there are types of breech, and this is the easiest breech. The frank breech is the easiest breech to be born. There are also footling breech where one of the feet can appear first, is the presenting part. There is also a breech where the baby is sitting like this, cross-legged in a lotus pose, and that could be a little bit of difficult of a breech. But this baby was classic breech, and as we started rumping, we don't call it crowning, we call it rumping. And because, the textbook, 6 a.m., her contractions start getting regular. At 9 a.m., they are pretty much 10 minutes, 7 minutes apart. At 10, 15 something, the water breaks, the water is clear. So I am not stressed at all. I know, baby is not distressed, baby is just doing fine, water is clear. Then at 11:15 almost, we start seeing little bit of rumping on the vaginal opening. The vagina is bulging, the outer perineum. And then, the rumping starts. In classic breech, when the baby is coming out, you will see like the paste-like meconium coming. So baby, literally, it's like you squeeze a toothpaste thing and the meconium comes. Same thing, So that started coming. So it was so textbook that I was not scared at all. And these two were so full of confidence. They were not, asking me any question that would denote any kind of fear or doubt. They were just going with the flow. So when I was, at 11:30 onwards, when I was on continuous video call, we started the progress, we started the rumping, then the meconium came out, then the baby came, so we are taught in breech that we have to look for, from the navel of the baby to the chest of the baby is going to descend first. And then we have to see if the legs are releasing. And if they are not releasing, then we need to, put a finger inside mother's vagina and take the legs out. But there was no need to do any of the maneuvers that we had. I mean, I had mentally, revised so many times, I have to instruct like this and like that. And Vikram had also prepared in response to that. So nothing we had to do. So baby released her legs, baby released her hands, and then baby did something like a crunch. Because what happens in a breech, the head is like this. It's not like this. It's like this. So because the S shape of our pelvis, in the final part, the head is like this, and the head needs to flex so that more room is created. The vaginal opening is stretched, and the baby has, because when you do this, the whole surface is going to stretch and the head is going to come out. And why baby does this is that naturally when we do crunches, our head comes up naturally. When we lift our legs, our head comes out. So similar, very, very scientific physics involved there. The baby, using its own body to birth the head. So the head is like this, and now the clock is ticking, tick, 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 and I'm fine with the contractions, waiting for the contraction. But now, baby is almost like this. I said, just give me a push, because I'm also anxious. I want to see that head being born. Otherwise, I need to tell the husband to help. So what happens in breech is the legs will be released, and then so the baby will be like this, and then the baby turns. So the final cardinal movement. So what we are taught in breech is, if you are facing the breech, you should be facing the navel at a right angle, face to face. If that is not there, then we have to turn the baby a little. So we grab the baby with two hands and try to move the baby. So those are maneuvers that we learn, and nothing. We didn't have to do any of this. Baby birthed her head herself. The father caught the baby. He passed the baby in between from her legs to Madhura. Madhura held the baby and she was sitting on her knees, so almost standing, half stand. And then I asked Vikram to just, make her touch the bum, to the ground and get her stabilized. Once she was stable, she was with the baby. That's it. Baby pinked up immediately. Baby let out a cry immediately. She was doing absolutely fine. So I was also ready with, what to do about the resuscitation. If the baby needs a little bit of help, nothing. So this baby, she just knew what she wanted to do. And that's what I said to them, we were brainstorming so much. We were having meetings over meetings after every doctor's visit and this and that. But the baby was like, enough of this foolishness of the adults. I just need to do what I need to do. I'm going to come out. So I always say, this is going to be a very strong-headed baby. She's going to put a lot of resistance to the parents. Sometimes she's going to say, you guys do whatever, I'm going to follow my life. And that's what, every generation does. It's difficult, but these type of kids only bring change in the world and universe. So, and then I had a very, sweet fortune of going and seeing them in the postpartum, visiting their house and, blessing the baby. It was amazing. Absolutely. I've never seen a couple like this. And yesterday they did an elimination communication session with Divya, and they have right away started. So their 1 month old is getting out of diapers, guys. So please get some motivation and don't spend money on diapers and efforts in, washing diapers. Just do some elimination communication with dear Divya Kanal. I think she was here some time ago. She's here, I think. Amazing journey. And I would really like to invite Vikram if he's there. I'm sure he's taking care of the baby right now. He's such a dedicated parent. I mean, amazing father. He does everything. He's the one who is constantly in contact with me. Madhura is doing her own postpartum thing, obviously. And he's giving me all the updates about baby's weight, this, that. Once baby got a rash, and he asked me, was I the reason? Because I was handling the baby and maybe I didn't wash my hands. I'm like, chill, yeah, don't worry. Rashes happen. So, yeah, it's an amazing journey.
I asked him to join. He said,
he is there. Like we have some Vikram here, but he's
Let me
available.
ask. Let me ask if we can. Just a minute.
So
Anyone with any question,
Well,
Tapasya?
I was little scared, what if something goes wrong? And, because see, chances of stillbirths in a normal situation will be 0.5 and chances of breach will be 0.7. So it's like a slightly higher chance of that baby not breathing or needing extra resuscitation efforts or anything. But once the labor started and once they said that, something is happening, that fear was gone. No fear at all. Whatever inkling of, that if the baby needs help, etc., that was also gone from my heart. Because I was seeing these two, they were so confident. So this is the kind of parent I love to work with. Yes, Vikram, we are all yours.
Thank you. All the praise goes to Madhura. I was there just standing or sitting, watching her doing everything. It was scary, but it was divine. Being a male, you're able to see a birth. That in itself is the lowest probability thing you would ever do in your life.
Yeah.
It was divine. I know there was nobody else who could give that confidence to the lady who's birthing in a room where just two of us were there. I had no choice. If I am not prepared, then no one is prepared.
Mm.
And as Madhura was saying, those adventure sports actually taught this to us. Just imagine you are underwater 30 meters, like 100 foot, and there is an emergency. You can't panic. If you panicked, you're gone. I correlated this with entire pregnancy journey. So I knew, and it wasn't that just 9 months, probably 10 year of our relationship that was at work, and we trusted each other. We trusted nature. We trusted each other, and that's how it happened. And thanks to Tapasya, thanks to all the people, Sapna Mami, and like we we never thought we would do this way. We always manifested, and it actually happened that way. That's the most fortunate thing. Yeah, but all all the praises, all the hard work, like swimming till 9 months. That's what she did by herself. I was there, but you also need a courage, to carry forward that energy till 9 month, till the birth. Yeah. So thanks to her to give for giving me that opportunity, to support her this entire journey. That's it.
So, like, is there any message would you like to give to fathers here, like the wives, like the mothers who are attending and they want, their husbands to listen to this? So, if in recording on YouTube they listen to you, what is something which you'd like to say? And I really love that quote which you gave to your wife saying, the lioness, they don't stop hunting during pregnancy. So that was wow for me. So would you like to give any message to the fathers, Vikram?
uh, I strongly believe in the mother instinct, and trust the mother, trust your wife, trust that lady, and you would see your perspective change with it. And I think that's the funda that I used in my entire pregnancy journey. I know we had some fear, doubt moments, but I always stand with that natural mother instinct, supporting that instinct, and letting that fear automatically, go away. And you would see that fear will dilute over the time automatically. So yeah, trust mother and the motherly instinct, everything will be fine.
Wow. Anybody has any question for Vikram or Madhura or me?
people are mesmerized with the birth itself, like someone has just said, "Okay, I've heard the first natural breech birth story ever." But I would say that, it's only that it's unusual to listen to these kind of stories in city, but I'm sure that in villages they still happen, and our grandmothers have done it over and over again. I was so connecting to Madhura when she said, I wished my grandmother was there because she had birth at home, and even one part of her story would have encouraged me. And I'm glad that I have a grandmother who had a premature birth, who had a breech baby. And I always go to her, sit with her, and I listen to that story. And that itself give me the encouragement to support other women. And that's how I've supported premature babies as well. So we got to go to our grandmothers. If they're alive, we got to sit with them and talk to them about births. Because grandfathers, they don't remember anything except for dice coming out and telling them that beta bacha ho gaya. Isn't it? So the grandmothers are the ones who showed the courage. How did you overcome the fears by the doctors in the breech position, Madhura and Vikram? That's the question for you.
Before that, I want to share one experience on the grandma thing.
Maybe that's the answer to
Yeah, that's
question.
also answer to the question. At around 6:37 or 8, Madhura called Tapasya and asked this question: Are we doing this at home? And Tapasya gave us a confidence. But before even that question, around like 6 early in the morning, she set up a table corner in the room with a artifact from the grandmas like sari, shawl, one copper pot, and her own paintings she did, and as if they were watching us. And that was so inspirational that she did it subconsciously, and 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 it was exactly like somebody is supporting us. That generation that thought those wisdoms are passing down from that generation to next generation, three generations in that room. Yeah, that that's the thing, isn't it?
Actually, yeah. In addition to that, in my mind, I was remembering all my family members, including those who are not there now. And I knew that their blessings are with me.
Take a moment, Madhura. It's okay. Take some water.
Yeah. I was so inspired with my mother's chachi, who gave birth to twins at home. And I think she was my inspiration. And my grandmother was the ultimate free birther. I have known 6 free births. She would just go into the room, come out with the baby. No midwife, nobody. And when you grow up listening to these stories, they give you confidence. And the sad part is our future generations don't have those stories. They have only stories of C-sections and horror and how difficult birth is and all that. And people who dare to take this path and go through it and fulfill it, come out successfully at the other end, we run a legacy. As Madhura rightly said, that we are going to tell our daughters and granddaughters and everybody that natural normal birth is possible. Right now, breech in India, no practitioner wants to do a breech. Obviously, when you go to a government hospital and a baby is like coming out, there's a bum in between your legs, they will have to deliver a breech. So they keep delivering breech at hospitals in emergency situations, but still they will highly discourage breech birth, vaginal breech birth for all their patients. And they would say, baby would die, this, all the horrible things they could say, they would say. And amazing part that they didn't share was after birth, they went to the hospital for the paperwork of birth certificate and all that. And the doctor was really amazed. Doctor was happy. And the pediatrician who saw the baby, he was so happy that they did it. And we were expecting that thoda gali padegi, we'll get reprimanded, like how could you do this and all that. Nothing. They were excited and happy. So, Madhura, Vikram, would you like to tell that? How was the reaction?
That moment, I really wanted to answer the question: what kind of parent you will become? But it was so amazing. Even we were shocked that a doctor who wasn't even giving 5 minutes in the visit. She gave us 45 minutes, and I was like, worth the money
Good.
that I was paying her. So she was absolutely amazed, shocked, and she knew it needed the confidence to do all these things. So she definitely have respect for whatever we did. And after that, she changed for us. We visited her twice or thrice after that, just to see her face. Trust me, not with any complaint, just to see her face, to show our baby face and her. And she always gave us 30 plus minutes every single time, telling all the stories from her childhood till like many patients that she saw. Amazing. It
Wow.
changed.
One thing I would like to share about the doctor, she opened up a lot with us, and with all due respect for her as well, she was sharing that at her birthing experience, she didn't read even a single line from her books from obstetrics. I can't OBG, I can't spell that word out. So because every chapter ends in death, that is how it's being taught to prepare.
Every book and every chapter of every book
Yeah.
ends with a death.
So they have to be prepared for all the risks and emergencies. And nowadays, people being, making them responsible for every single thing. Being doctors is also a difficult thing in India.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have absolute respect for them as well. I mean, the thing
Yeah.
that they do is what they have to do.
We dared to ask that question, like,
Yeah.
and then she responded, see, this is what we also go through. And like when she said, I didn't even saw my books for my own pregnancy, we immediately got that respect for her.
So true. Our friends who are gynecs, when we have conversation, and I feel that they have a very tougher life than us. We delve into a different kind of thing, but theirs is like, ongoing, it's just OPDs and visiting mothers, either C-sections or normal. So they cannot wait. Their lives are, my friend, she does not even eat her meals on time. वो sleep की pattern तो छोड़ ही दो. They don't sleep as well. So we got to be, empathetic towards the doctors as well. And I think, once these births happen and they happen in front of them. So, coincidentally, what happened, Madhura, with the moment you gave birth, there was this mother in Mumbai, and she had approached me just a week before saying that, do you do some this EVM or this kind of thing? I was like, why? So she said, my doctor said, she cannot birth breech because there are risks, etc. And then because ChatGPT was there, so the ChatGPT showed different types of breech. And what if there is footling? What if this? I'm like, अगर सोचना भी है तो इतना difficulty सोचना है क्या? सोचो ना क्या frank है. So she's like, yeah, that's a nice perspective. I'm like, yeah, why not? Just go ahead and continue laboring. And your doctor has learned about breech. You just have to give her a trial. And I'm texting about your birth to her, and she's like, sister, I just gave birth, breech at the hospital. I'm like, how did you do that? Because she's like, I just went in active labor. They were preparing the OT for cesarean, but I was more than 7 centimeter, and they had no other option than to receive my baby via a breech position. So there was the two breech happened in Mumbai and Pune, and I was so happy that day. Tapasya and I were like, हम लोग सातवें आसमान पे थे out of happiness कि भाई दो breaches हुए दो अलग जगह पर. So that was a breech day.
And there is a question about vaccine also. So just to let everybody know, Madhura and Vikram have decided not to vaccinate their baby. So yeah. So on that front also, they had to face some brunt in the birth registration office, because the person who signs the birth certificate was like, why are you not vaccinating? Where actually it's not her, it doesn't come under her jurisdiction to ask that. If you have all the papers, you give the birth certificate. Why do you want आपने vaccine लगाया कि नहीं या कौन से diapers पहना रहे हो baby को? None of your business, but they will still do that. So yeah, Vikram had to go through a lot, but he fought. He stood his ground.
So anyone with any questions?
Yeah, somebody has asked, is Yeah, no, Madhura
Madhura
didn't
did
take.
not take any vaccination.
Maybe Tdap, did you take, Madhura?
I think one dose.
One dose, we actually they trapped us in the hospital. That's why we had to take.
They gave it forcibly, actually.
They don't leave you, until you take that injection. So
The first one, and after that, we never went to hospital, kind of. So, and in the second hospital, fortunately, we were able to lie. So we said we took in the room which is below who does the pathology stuff. Oh, we took there. Yeah. She wrote it and we said, oh, we took it. Botox, we done last time. Yeah. So the first hospital we couldn't. So that I think that was a third month or so.
there's a nice question. How were your parents through this? Supportive or tough to handle?
They are watching this webinar. I mean the live stream now. If they are watching, probably they are supporting.
I
With
mean,
respect to the birth and vaccines, etc. for the baby.
it was difficult to onboard because, seeing the things around, it's natural to get panic or whatever doctor says. And for them, it's like their daughter or their daughter-in-law going through this, and they cannot see her in pain or something if it goes wrong. But fortunately, we have like really good family friends, and with their help, we could, convey what we wanted to, have as our birth experience. What are the advantages of it? And we onboarded them, and then we directly told them that the birth happened.
But thanks to their understanding as well.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage at their end as well. I mean, just imagine you're a parent and your daughter is just calling you and showing you the. I was like, hello mom, hello dad. See your grandchild. And yeah, but hats off to them, their courage, their understanding. It wouldn't have possible because traditionally they would have been here with us for very long, like 7, 8, 9th month. But they understood our requirement. They understood what we are planning. Many a times they didn't even question, and I'm the one to blame that I didn't give them a full disclosure of many things, but for sure I gave them a confidence that your girl, your child, she will be in a really good shape with me, and I think probably they trusted me blindly, and I thanks them for this.
Wow.
Couple and family goes all together in the story. Okay, so with that, I think we are at the end of the story circle. Thank you so much, Madhura and Vikram, Tapasya, for being a part. And I would say that, having one birth, a beautiful birth, and that, Sapna was the one who had her birth at a birth center. She inspired one of the family member, and now you are becoming, you have achieved this kind of a birth. So cheers to Sapna as well. Thank you, Sapna, for being there as their mommy and being the support throughout the whatever ways you could. And thank you, Leena ji, Nutan ma'am, all of them were part of it, yeah? So thank you so much, everyone. See you next story. Bye.